With a week until football starts, I'm going to be predicting the Detroit Lions schedule, and this season is going to be insane. Mark my words, I think this Detroit Lions season is going to be the most entertaining season to watch of all time. And that's because the Cats got the hardest schedule in the NFL. 11 games this season. They're playing against teams that made the playoffs last year, the most in the NFL, and then they got to play the Bears twice and the Bengals. Before I start, let me quick Chris Collinsworth at Patrick Mahomes my predictions. If nobody else is gonna glaze me, I guess I gotta do it myself. Pause. Nailed 2022, Lions went 9-8. Nailed 2023. Can't tell me the Lions didn't go 13-4. Decker reported Cowboys. Sorry, franchise, man. They just lost their best player. And then last year, I was one game off. Week 1, Lions headed to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. Big playoff implications in this game, and a lot of people are taking the Packers to win it all, and now they have Micah Parsons. Am I worried? A little bit. The Lions have to go up against Gary opposite of Parsons, but the Lions are winning this game. Campbell, 6-2 record against Matt LaFleur's Packers. Now, Detroit is going into this season with offensive line adjustments, but I've heard great things from the Lions training camp about the offensive line. Plus, the Packers just lost their star defensive tackle, and they haven't been able to stop the run against Detroit in each of the past few seasons. John Morton's also a great game planner. Look for Jameson Williams to be huge in week 1. Detroit's defense is looking very scary. Jordan Love's inconsistent, and not only did the Packers and Matt LaFleur not beat the Lions, they just don't win big games in general. 0-6 last year against the Eagles, Vikings, and Lions. And the only reason the Packers made the playoffs was because of their easy schedule. Fuck the Packers. Moving on, week 2. Detroit's home opener against the Bears, and Ben Johnson, after last year's whole incident on Thanksgiving with the time clock management, Caleb Williams is definitely going to be looking for revenge, but he's not going to get it. Everything that the Bears struggled with last year is going to be better, but it's all not going to be 100% fixed. Caleb Williams got sacked 7 times in 2 games against the Lions without Aiden Hutchinson. He also only had a 56% completion rate through 2 games. It's going to be better, but how much better can it get just over 1 season? Kelvin Shepherd has so much defensive talent to work with. I think the Lions will be able to get this one done. Plus, offensively, they have the secret weapon against the Bears. Week 3, Monday Night Football. The Lions and Dan Campbell's crew have to head to Baltimore to take on Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. We all remember what happened last time the Lions took on the Ravens in Baltimore, a 6-38 ass whooping back in 2023. And then the time before that, don't even get me started. I think this is going to be the Lions' hardest game of the season. I'm going to take the Ravens here, but I think the Lions definitely have a chance, can win this. Just the Ravens are a different beast at M&T Bank Stadium, especially under the lights. We remember what they did early in the season against Josh Allen and the Bills. Week 4, the Lions have their second home game. This one is against the Browns. They're going up against their old head coach, Jim Schwartz. He's a defensive coordinator for the Browns. Speaking of him, never forget Thanksgiving against the Texans. Adrian Peterson runs the football. His knees down. He gets up and continues running like 60 yards for a touchdown. Jim Schwartz challenges the play, but because he challenged it, they can't review it. And then he walks up and down the line and apologizes to everyone. That's just always the first Jim Schwartz memory that comes to my mind. Let me know your favorite Jim Schwartz memory. Also, my prediction for this game is going to be a blowout. One of those AFC South games from last year. Week 5, headed to Cincinnati against Joe Burrow. This season is insane. There's going to be a ton of points in this game. The Lions defense got shredded in the air last year. I think they'll be a lot better. They'll have Aiden Hutchinson in the pass rush. They won't have to blitz as much, and the secondary has improved. However, the Bengals defense sucked last year besides their pass rush. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I have the Lions. I think their defense is better, and their offense is... It's probably better, but Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are lethal, and then there's Chase Brown and T. Higgins. Week 6, can it get any crazier? We know that Jared Goff has that 2-0 record against Patty. It's just away again. Within their first 6 weeks, they go to Cincinnati, to Kansas City, to Baltimore, and to Green Bay. I have Kansas City winning this one. Last time the Lions went to KC, it was electric. Game of the year. The Lions can definitely win this one, but here I just kind of have all these away games and tough opponents catching up to them early in the season. I have them starting out 4-2, and if they can do that, that'll be pretty good, judging by their opponents the first 6 weeks. Week 7, the boys are back in Detroit, taking on honestly their kryptonite, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. I don't know what it is about this team, but whenever they play the Eagles, the Lions, whenever they play a good team, they ball out. Dan Campbell's Lions crushed them during the regular season and beat them in the playoffs back in 2023. Last year, lost to them early in the season. Detroit always loves that week 2 loss, so look out for that against Chicago. Here, though, I think the Lions kick some Tampa Bay ass. They play some really good teams for the first 6 weeks. Tampa Bay, roster-wise, does not really match up to them. After playing those hard teams, Tampa Bay seems pretty easy, and they win by a lot. That takes the Lions into a perfect bye right in the middle of the season after a really hard start. The second half of the year, I would say, is a bit easier, but it's still not easy. They take on the Vikings week 9. I think the Vikings will be good this season. I think JJ McCarthy will be pretty good. They spent the most in free agency, over $300 million. But you saw what the Lions did to him last year. The Vikings can't stop Gibbs. Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores are great, but they have lost their last 5 to Dan Campbell. Give me the Lions. Week 10, the Lions start another 2-week road trip from hell. First up are the Commies, the rematch from the playoffs. Oh my gosh, can this season get crazier? Yes, it can. I got the Lions winning here and starting out 7-2. We know how the Lions are with rematches. Against the Cowboys, they came back and kicked some ass. Against the 49ers last year, they kicked some butt. This one is going to be personal for the football team, and you're going to see them ball out. When I said football team, I meant the Lions football team, not to confuse that with the Washington football team. Nice job, NFL. After beating the Slim Reaper in one of the nicest stadiums in the NFL, they head to Philly to take on the Eagles at the Link. And the Lions are going to lose this game. Last time these two teams played, it was that week 1 shootout, which the Lions almost came back and won at the end. This one is going to be a brutal match. Sunday Night Football. I just think the Eagles defense is too good and they're at home. Week 12, I think this is a little bit of a get-right game for Detroit. I think they blow the Giants and Russell Wilson out. I just don't see how this game can be close. I do sound really confident, I feel like, with my predictions, but obviously you never know what can really happen. But just the Lions roster compared to the Giants roster, it's night and day. Week 13, the Lions are at home against the Packers, and there are a lot of these NFC North matchups late in the season. And that's probably because the NFL wants lots of playoff implications on these games. I think the Lions take this one as well and start out the season 9-3 with losses to the Ravens, Chiefs, and Eagles. It is interesting though, the Lions start out really poorly. Starting week 13 to week 18, they have 3 NFC North matchups. They could try to get back into the race for the division title if they're not doing so hot. I got a Kirby Joseph pick here for sure. Week 14, Lions by a million. Week 15, at home against the Rams. The Lions have that 2-0 record against Matthew Stafford already. Is Matthew Stafford even alive? He has his own medical bus at training camp. The Rams defense is a little scary. Their secondary isn't as worrying, but that pass rush is lethal. But the Lions have that solid run game. They have that play action. John Morton is a game planner. Apparently, he only sleeps 4 hours a night, and he's always just game planning and watching film. The Lions under Ben Johnson always had a great game script going into each game. They'd come out hot, fast. They had the plays to get down the field early and score. That's one thing the Packers struggle with. Again, give me the Lions starting out 11-3. 16, they play the Steelers and Mike Tomlin. This season is a dream season. If the Lions go on to win the Super Bowl, which they are my Super Bowl pick, but if they go to win a Super Bowl, this season would go down in history as one of the most insane seasons of all time because of their regular season games. All these teams they have to play against, they're playing against everyone. And of course, they're playing against Aaron Rodgers. Who in a million years would have thought that the Lions would be playing Aaron Rodgers on the Steelers? In the same year, they're playing Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, the defending champion Eagles. This honestly though could be a blessing in disguise because Dan Campbell's 3-1 against A-Rod. So let's make it 4-1. FTP 17. I have the Lions beating the Vikings once again. I have them sweeping the Packers and the Vikings. But Dan Campbell has been lethal against the NFC North. That puts him at 13-3. And then week 18 against the Bears, I have them losing and finishing up 13-4. Now, I'd hope they would lose this game because they can, and it's week 18, and the game doesn't matter whether they win or lose. However, I think the Bears played the Lions the best out of all the NFC North teams. The Vikings had a good game, but then got destroyed. The Bears had a good game, but then also got destroyed. Overall, I just think the Bears are going to be good this season, and they're going to be the ones to beat the Lions out of the NFC North teams. Otherwise, Dan Campbell's done really well against the division. There you have it. There are my picks. Let me know what games you think the Lions will win or lose. I have the Lions finishing 13-4 and winning the division for the third year in a row. I think this team is good enough to have at least 12 wins, even with this schedule. I still can't get over this schedule. It's actually insane. This whole season, every single week is going to feel like the Super Bowl. So I'm super pumped for it, and I'll be breaking down each week's game when they get closer. Thanks for watching.